Welcome back to the show, everybody. We've got a pretty cool guest. This one first for us, real life magician. He's going to tell us kind of the ins and outs of the little bit of the industry and what it's like to perform on the stage in front of people at parties. Jim Saylor, he is a magician, a mentalist, escape artist, and he's going to be joining us tonight to kind of just talk about that, about just his experiences in the world of magic. And this episode brought to you by ERT Radio, ERRT Radio. Go to Mixler.com, make your account there, subscribe, and you can listen to great shows like us, Into the Outer Realms, Uncensored with David and Maureen, and Dimensions of the Supernatural for some of the shows, along with some music lineups that Ron has got there. So just go to ERT Radio, ERRT Radio, and Mixler.com. Set up your account today. So that, like I said, Jim Saylor, magician, mentalist, escape artist. He's going to be showing us here, and we might even be able to convince him to do maybe a magic trick or two while we're on the air. We'll find out right now. Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name's Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is right.
Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, and the boy, and guess what? There's Three Beards in the house, and we found the man. He was hanging out in the back alley. He's fallen on hard times. He's hanging out with the raccoons. I felt bad with it. I said we got to bring him onto the show. Hey, Mark, how are you, sir?
Right, John the Beard.
There you go.
Yes, Mark.
Chris is doing the John Madden drawing all over the screen,
The whiteboard.
Yep.
Yeah, putting the beard on me.
So we had the boss on last week, and now we have the employee on this week. So, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Looking forward to this show.
Yeah, and you got us in touch with Jim, and like I said, really look forward to it. So at this time, I'm going to bring him on the show too. Jim, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How's everybody?
Wonderful. All right.
Good.
Right.
I was. It's one of those.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, at least
That's
one of
me.
us is here, right? Yeah, it's.
You should swap
Hey,
me with Chris, by the way.
Yeah, let me. All right, here we go. How's that?
There you go.
There we go. All right, moving pieces
Keep your
around here.
props, Chris.
So one of the things, like when Mark brought this up, I thought it was pretty cool. I was trying to figure out, do we want to just do, a variety act show, like having you do all these tricks, like what do you see here? And I just thought one of the things that we never had anybody that was an actual, stage performance magician. And so one of the things, so the cool part from me is just, I like to get people's stories. I like to see this stuff. So what the behind the scenes things. Everybody sees Penn and Teller, David Kopp. You see all these guys on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You see the guys that do the birthday parties. You've seen the advertisements, especially if you're in Vegas. Everybody has a magician. Advertisements. But I don't know if I've ever listened to anybody actually take time to ask people. It's like, tell me about how you got into this. and that I'll just start right there. Jim, when did you get? And I don't even know the best way to term that. I mean, it's just because everybody's got that feeling. Like if you've ever watched a magic trick, everybody's got this feeling. Okay, the quarter. All right, we know how they did it. They've got a sleight of hand in the hand. They brought it behind the ear. You didn't really have a coin in your ear. But everybody has seen a trick at some point in their life. They've watched something, and you feel that tingling, that sensation, because you're like, I don't know how the hell they did that. It's just it's kind of freaky
and stuff.
So I don't know if you call that magic enthrallment. I mean, I don't know what the term would be for that. But when did you get that and realize I want to do this myself and become, the guy up there on stage, giving that feeling to everybody in the audience?
The first thing that got me interested that I can remember, and keep in mind, I'm going to be 60 this year, so my memory is starting to fade a little. So, thanks, Brian. Got that one. I appreciate it.
I'm getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was about 9 or 10 years old, it was somewhere in there. I believe it was about 9 years old. I actually did. Everybody see the Tony Curtis version of the Houdini?
Oh yeah. That was that was a good one.
Okay,
I remember that.
Movie. It was the first one out there about Harry. Based on a book by Harold Kellogg. It was just a biography, mostly, of course, Hollywooded up for everybody's enjoyment, naturally. But I read that when I was about 9 years old. I remember that. Let me think. My father had a friend who ran a bar. I'm originally from Northern Illinois. Not that makes any difference, but a lot of people back there did a lot of drinking, I suppose, is what you would say back in the day. Anyway, so he had a friend, owned a bar, restaurant, and I remember this guy doing a magic trick when I was young. He took a deck of cards, had a card chosen, put it back in, blah, 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 shuffled everything up, threw the deck against the wall. The chosen card stuck to the wall. Which is what you can see. Somebody like Copperfield has done that on television before. I'm trying to think of who else has done
Doug
that.
Henning.
I think hasn't Penn and Teller done that on TV?
Yep.
They've probably done a warped version of
it. Yeah, like the bullet.
That's what they do. They take everything and kind of twist it the other way. Which they also got me really interested in wanting to do magic as well. Watching them do it the way that they did it. First magician I ever remember seeing on television was Doug Henning. Everybody remember Doug Henning?
Oh, I do. I actually saw him on Broadway.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that was weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw him downtown.
Oh, cool. I never got to see him in person. Never did. He was great doing magic. He was the first one to do the whole tie-dyed, they called it hippie kind of stuff because he was out there with the flower power and everything back in the 70s and whatnot.
I think his main line was "Thank you." That's how he would he did something.
You're probably
really
right.
weird, but it was
Boy, see Kelly, she's excited. Kelly was a friend of mine. She actually knows me on the screen.
Cool.
I'm excited to learn about magic. Oh, she knows.
He's already loaded the audience with his props.
That's
right.
You got to salt the mind.
Is that one of those? I want to pull somebody random out of the audience. You, the female over there. What's your name? Kelly.
Yes.
Oh, hi.
How'd you know that it was the Queen of Hearts?
Yeah, exactly. Oddly enough, that is one thing that I have never done. I've never put people in an audience to. And it's not that I'm opposed to it. I just never did it. Somebody in the audience, it would be like a stooge or what you would call them to come up and if friends were watching and they wanted to come up and help me, I was cool with that. It didn't matter to me. I'm in it for the entertainment value, and the more entertainment value we can get out of it, that's great. And a friend will know how to act and react towards me and what I'm doing, so that's fine. I've had things go wrong on stage before live audiences. That's exactly what you want, is for things to go absolutely wrong.
The table falls and that type of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I was doing an
with a
escape.
cage of rabbits underneath.
Yeah. I was doing an escape out of what we call a mailbag. And basically it's like a 4 or 5 foot tall canvas bag with a bar that runs through grommet holes and has padlocks on each end. Now I also get chained up, handcuffed, whatever, and put inside the bag. I'm live. I'm on stage at a festival. There's got to be 100, 200 people standing there watching me. And a friend of mine was videotaping this. Kelly might have been there that year. I can't remember. When I got out of it, everything was cool. People applauded, la, la, la. I loved it. It was great. They loved what was happening. I go back and listen to the video, watch and listen to. All you can hear is rattling, clanking, and everything else of the padlocks dropping, the chains coming off, and everything else. Yeah, very embarrassing when I stopped when I was sitting there watching it. And the people watching it with me, who was another magician friend of mine and his family, they were quite literally rolling on the floor. because you can hear all of this. And I was just sitting there with my head bowed, shaking my head like, oh, Lord, I had no idea. So there are, you won't get necessarily too many. I don't know if Mario will wind up telling you stories like this or not, because I've been on stage with Mario and everything he does usually goes off without a hitch, but I'm sure he's got some of those moments that aren't quite right.
Oh, I'm sure. And that
The hardest are other magicians. I know that for a fact. They're the ones, they will ride you forever. Your friends that are magicians and you're a magician, if you don't do it right, you're never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
But in a fun way. It's not like really like they want to make, they're busting your chops for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't know if anybody else does, I want to say it was Saturdays when they would always do like those. They'd almost do like those live magic, like live from Vegas or around the world. They'd have those shows where they'd bring in the different acts. And the one that always would get me are the up close, the magic ones where they do with the hands, where you'd have some guy that and you can see him right now. His name's failing me, but he's really well known. He'll do the 4 quarters on the table. And he'll sit there and he'll do it like, just so I can show people my hands. He'll have 4 there, and all of a sudden, just like boom, it's like he's shooting them all over the table. He'll go from, and you're like, I'm watching it. I know the basics, like the sleight of hand stuff, but I'm like, how is he taking 3 quarters that quickly and transporting them? Just basically transporting them from hand to hand over to this side, and it's like instant. And I'm like, it's one of those things. I can watch that up close magic like all the time, and it doesn't get old.
Well, now I'm not really good at what is in essence a matrix effect, which is what we're talking about right here. But I can, if you want to see something that's close up, I can show you something right now. I'm going to have to adjust my computer a little bit so I can turn it down more.
Oh, that's fine.
Towards the table,
as
long as nobody cares.
Craig, you'd love the 3-card Monty guys in New York City then.
Well, see, like those ones you could kind of figure out like where they're shifting these stuff.
They're
this one,
magicians, but they're not going to give you your money, and if you win, you're not making it a block away.
This is one. It's not like he's holding his palms either. It's like his fingers are spread, and he's sitting, and he'll sit there, and all of a sudden, just boom, to the quarter. The quarter will just like in less than a second, will all of a sudden like, boom, we'll be over there, and he'll have them all moving around. I'm like, how's he doing it? I mean, he's not there. There's no way to physically, it's like, obviously there is a way to physically do it, but it doesn't seem to be physically possible to grab all 4 those quarters and move them around like that without something being seen. And that's what it just, like I said, it's that enthrallment part where you're just like, oh my God, that's so awesome.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I think I've had every magic kit they've ever came out with it, and to my prevail, I end up chucking the shit because I can't figure it out.
It happens. But believe it or not, in those magic kits that you're talking about, there are some wonderful routines in there.
Oh, yeah.
There's some great stuff that you will see done live on a stage that aren't exactly the same way as it is in the magic kit, of course. Every magic kit has a standard, what they call the cups and balls. 3 little plastic cups of different colors, 3 little knitted type or pom-pom balls, right?
Mhm.
Anybody who's had that knows that. Di Vernon, they called him the professor, made that famous back in the, let me think, 1960s at least, because he was probably the first person to come into the Magic Castle in LA, the guy who opened it up. A friend of mine who just passed away back in October, a month after his 72nd birthday, Earl Nelson, one of only 2 people to be named magician in residence at the Magic Castle, was the professor's. Actually, he quite literally sat on the professor's right-hand side. I mean, that's how close he was to the professor. This guy was, up until the day he died, he was working on magic, and I'm quite literally the day he died. He had cards and coins in his hospital room that he was working
right there.
Yeah,
Sir, we've got to put this IV in.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Somebody get the rabbits out of the room now, please.
Yes, because they are
rabbits.
they're interfering with the IV at this point in time. That's what you don't want to do. You want to go into a room. Hey, I know how to do this cut and restored routine. Let me see that IV tube for a minute.
That would be great. I would pay
Wouldn't it?
money for that, Jim.
Sweet! I can find somebody that'll work with me. Now, we're talking. We get talking about the green stuff, and I'm all over it. Okay.
Yes, that would be great. I want to see you do that.
Yeah. Well, Penn and Teller did that actually with a snake.
Ooh.
A live snake.
Phil and Jackie are here.
That's pretty cool.
Hey,
I
they're
also,
watching.
just so you know, I saw Penn and Teller on Broadway as well.
Oh, nice. I never got to see the opportunity to see
Go to
them.
Vegas, and they're doing a residency.
Oh yeah. I'd the man who judges, I think it's Michael Close, who is I could be wrong, and if Michael's watching this and I'm mistaken, Michael, tell me I'm mistaken. One of for the Penn and Teller show, for the Fool Me thing, I've always wanted to get hold of him to see about getting on. I never have. There was a question I had about an escape routine they did that I know how it's done, but Penn and Teller said they were fooled, and I want to know how they got fooled because I knew the answer. But
I think it's the magic of Hollywood. They have to pay out occasionally, to
yeah. That's what I was thinking. I didn't actually want to say it to those guys, but
one of the things, because we brought up Penn and Teller a couple of times, and that was one of the questions I had written down for you too, is because he's got that painted pinky.
Right.
He always paints that one pinky nail black as a nod to his mom.
Well, it's red. He's the red finger. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything like that you do that's like your call, like something during the stage thing where that's like your thing, where it's like a nod to somebody, it's like your mentor or to a family member, something like because there's always people like, I think it was Jeff Hornacek in the NBA, when he'd get up to the free throw line, he would always do this. Right. And that was him saying hi to his family on TV. That was his thing. So it wasn't that his face was just itchy and he was doing this. He was just, that was his nod to, hey, yeah, I see you guys. And he'd do that. It's like, do you have anything like that?
No, not really. But I know what you're talking about, because there was also, of course, there was Carol Burnett on the Carol Burnett show, who always did this. This was a little hi to her grandmother or something, or her aunt, just a little tug on the ear. Mm-hmm. The closest thing I can think of to that I have is an effect that I have been doing, and it goes into the close-up thing that you're talking about, that you like to see, watch. Oh, Kelly likes the rope tricks. Maybe I'll be able to do something here.
That's great. That's good.
Richard Goff in Rockford, Illinois, was the first person, my first magic instructor. And he taught me an effect using simply 2 pieces of sponge. That's all we use. Now, if you want to see what this is the closest thing I can think of to something that is if you want to call it a signature piece or what have you. Mm-hmm. Rich taught me to do this with 4 of these things, 3 or 4 of these things. How many of multiple ones? I just shortened it up and do it with 2. But I'm going to try not to get too descriptive or get too big-headed about this. You guys tell me what you think, and we'll go from there. I'm going to tip the screen a little bit.
Okay.
So we can see the table, and we can see my stack of books way over here that I have. Some of them, most of them, all magic stuff, of course. The wife's never real happy about that.
They're never happy about anything. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, here we go. And it's a fairly simple thing. It's a fairly simple thing. If you guys were here, I would be doing this also with one of you doing the effect. Here we are again. And just a little shake.
See, isn't that cool?
And see, that's now again, I can't do it with either anyone on here because you guys are there and I'm here. However, I learned it as a 10-step routine. If I can remember correctly, since I've been doing it for over 30 years, to practice it in 10 steps, you might be able to try this. Let me think.
If Mark coughs up a piece of foam, I'm going to nope, and I'm going to be out of here.
That would be interesting. Okay, step 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's the turnover.
So, I love those tricks. They're.
So if you've got sponges at home, go ahead, cut them up, and like you said, the wife's not going to enjoy anything that you're doing. Because I sit here and I do magic.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
There you go. He's got that right there. He's got that.
I know, some David Blaine type thing. Just one of us just starts pulling it,
pulling red streamers out of your mouth or something, or your nose.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, so that's something that I've done that I've been told, wow, I know how you're doing it, but I can't see how you're doing it. That's what I've been told.
It's
if you
very
guys like
smooth. It's very, very smooth. I mean, it's so smooth. That's what makes it so great. That's why I think you like it, Craig. How smooth it is. It's right in front of your face, but he's moving so smoothly that.
Because you're waiting to see, like, at some point he shifted the other piece over there and he's dropped the one into his lap, and you're waiting to see all these things. But when you watch them, it's just like, and it's done. And you're like, see, that's the part that's so cool about this the up close magic is like you literally, the guys that are good at this. It is. I mean, what was the guy? His tagline was like, I want to say he was Spanish or Portuguese, and so they always had the badly dubbed English. I can't do it any slower, and they'd always do. And then he'd do it again. It's like, let's do that again. I can't do it any slower, and you're like, oh, and it was the same thing. It was like the coin tricks. You have the guy with like quarters, and all of a sudden they've got this giant medallion type thing that just pops up out of nowhere. I mean, it's just, those ones are the one that just are amazing.
Quick question for you, Jim. Is that doable as well without sponges, like with coins? It looks basically like a coin trick to move from one hand to the next. But does it make it more difficult because the metals can clank?
Oh, definitely. Things can happen like that. Can I do it again? Yeah, I can do it again. Jaron or whatever his name is. He's wanting to catch me, probably trying to do that. But if not, that's cool too. If he just wants to see it again, that's fine. But yeah, what Earl told me that the professor told him to. Cards are better to work with than coins are, because when you drop a card, it doesn't make any noise.
Right.
You see, you can always tell when a guy messes up with a coin trick because you will hear a clink or something like that if you're listening. What can we do?
I wonder if you can do that with my kids.
One of the only card tricks I know, it's a mathematical one, because it's you take an unshuffled deck, you cut it 13 times. Doesn't matter how you cut it. Doesn't matter if you cut one card, if you cut it in half, you cut it 13 times. You deal it into 13 piles, and then you flip them over, and they're all 4 of a kind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it's a simple mathematics thing. And so I like these tricks. Once they're broken down to people, they're like, okay, I get it. But when you do it, just like those tricks, if you do it, like if I just did it in front of people without explaining it to you, it takes a little while for the setup. But then when you do it, everybody's like, holy crap, because the whole time you ask them, now it's probably pretty well cut and shuffled up, right? And they're like, oh, heck yeah. And that's why, because it throws them off when you're like 2 cards and then half and then a third, doing it all this all these different things. But yeah, it doesn't matter how many cards you cut. You just, as long as you cut it 13 times and deal it into 13 piles, it will come out 4 of a kind every time.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
I don't know if you drink adult beverages, but I always get suckered in the bar by a magician. You're like, well, I can make this quarter go in your beer, and it's in there, and I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? Or the spoon or some other. I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll buy you a beer. He's like, if I can do this, you buy me a beer, and I'd be at like several beers. I'm like, can I see another one? Oh, got me again.
I have adult beverages. No, I wouldn't know a thing about adult beverages at all.
I know. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No. That's an actual Starbucks cup, and it has real. No. But yeah, I've been in bars and doing things like I think we all have at some point in time, doing those type of things. But I never did it to actually try to get. Oh, he wants to learn. Okay. Rabbit in the Hat.
Course.
I do not work with animals, only in the audience. King is asking about the rabbit in the hat. I have never pulled a rabbit out of a hat, but I used to go with a Harry Anderson routine. I would take my hat off and see only a little hair. That's a joke.
Anybody get it? Come on, rabbit out of that hair. Come on,
hair.
Chris.
Yes, just a little hair. That's it. Okay, that was a Harry Anderson humor. So
he was great.
Yes. Cheers, Slanja, everybody. Yes,
absolutely.
Hey, Jim, what's the tapestry behind you? Does that fit into your magic show?
It does 2 things. One, I have used it when I was doing readings online. On my Facebook page, I also have one called, what is it called again? I haven't been on there in quite a while. Something, a page about Oracle, and I would do readings, simply taking cards like a tarot deck or something, and just doing readings for people, because a man in New Zealand by the name of Richard Webster, he told me, you really need to, and Bob Brown in Chicago, who has been long gone, had also told me, oh, hi, Steph. That would be Kelly's daughter. I'm sorry.
Another plant.
Yes, if you will.
The audience is stacked.
She was. I've actually cut her in 2 before on multiple occasions.
That's awesome.
That. Yes, with a power saw, just instead of the old hand saw.
Oh, that's cool.
The power saw. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yes. She actually escaped from my torture board. Yes. What were we talking?
You're not supposed to admit that on
the tapping
live. You're not supposed to admit that on live. TV and stuff, that somebody escaped your torture board.
Escaped the torture board. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's okay. I'll be perfectly honest with you. If you guys were to Google a lot of stuff, you could figure out a lot of things that people are doing. I mean, a lot of things people are doing. It may be a little shaky on whether you can get it done or not, but there's a lot of stuff out there. It's unfortunate about the internet.
Quick question for you before you continue with the tapestry. I had a friend in high school. Her brother was into magic, and he would tie her. He would bound her to the wall in her bedroom, and then throw knives at her. And he was practicing for his magic trick, and she scared the hell out of her all the time. He was actually pretty good at doing that. But is that part of any type of your acts where you're? Because I've seen that before with magicians, where they're throwing axes or knives, and they pop a balloon and a card comes out or something like that.
No, I've actually never done that, and it sounds like somebody who needs help.
Oh, I agree. We all agreed when we heard it. Like, you may want to report your brother at this point.
But
somebody's practicing. I don't think it's for magic.
No, I have a younger sister, and she would not have appreciated that at all. Not that I would have cared at that time, but which is probably the same thing with that. What the guy was talking about now. No, I haven't. I have done one, not throwing knives. Okay, I did some Wild West stunt work once a long time ago. And as part of that, I would do a show, an Old Western medicine show as well. And in one part of that, I would have a card chosen, shuffled again, back in the deck, laid on the table. I would blow up a balloon, put it in a stand, just a little wire frame that would be over here. You shoot like a pistol at it or something like that. However it works out, the balloon pops, and the chosen signed card, can be signed, appears from inside the balloon.
Yeah, those are cool tricks.
Yeah.
I just that's one of the other ones too. It's like it honestly, it almost borders on, okay, are they really practicing some form of like literal magic sometimes with those signed cards, because you're like, how is it possible for me to sign it, do all this stuff, take it, you fold it up, you take it, like you burn it all of a sudden, and you look over here, and hey, you over there, like, can you grab what's in your pocket? And he's like, and he pulls it as the folded card, the sign. I'm like, okay, how in the hell did you never walked over to the guy? How did that card go from here to the, I'm like, this is, I'm like, I know that you got to have an assistant somewhere, but you don't ever see the person reaching over and.
Well, not to burst a bubble, but there we could be talking about a plant in the audience.
Yeah,
could be.
True.
We could be. Not necessarily how everybody does it, but I'm sure one or two guys have done it that way before. Real quick, back to Mark's question, the tapestry. It's just basically the backdrop that I would use because, like I said, there is back here, we've got books and things like that on a bookshelf. That's a pretty plain wall back behind me with a little window behind it, as a matter of fact. If you noticed, we have up here sees all, knows all, little fortune telling kind of sign. That's really all it is for it. It was just I haven't used it in any shows. Honestly, I haven't been able to perform in approximately 2 years. The magic shows, when the corona hit, most things died off.
Oh, right.
At least for me in the area where I am.
The venue shut down.
What's that?
Venue shut down.
Yeah.
That is pretty much by state laws and county health regulations.
Yeah. Some guys were supposedly, I say supposedly because I didn't see too many of them doing Zoom magic shows, but they can say what they want to about it. It's not the same as being there live with the guy in front of you.
We found that out with schools too.
Oh, with schools too? Okay. Right.
No, I was just gonna say too, because with how well you speak, you orate, and you do the tricks. One of the things like too is like through TikTok, through all these things, it would be great to see you almost doing like tutorial videos.
Yeah,
like, I mean, teaching people like, do this rope trick. This is a simple rope trick. Here's how we do. Boom, go through and you just do these things. Because I just, doing things, it'd be incredibly easy to listen to, and just with the skill that you've had, it would be so easy to teach people like these rudimentary tricks, that you can start with, and then learn these things and go from there.
I hadn't thought about that, but I suppose that is a good idea. I mean, there are a lot of what we'll call beginner's magic books out there, and I still learn a lot through books. I do learn from videos if they're put out by professionals, people that I know who do things, and I trust these guys to teach me what I want to know. Please don't try to learn magic on YouTube. That is just bad, because unless the guy has a name or something like that, I'm serious about this stuff. Oh, there's Bill. He thinks it's a good idea. I performed a magic show for Bill's young daughter many, many years ago. And I can't remember exactly what I did. But once again, the age thing probably catching up with me. I don't know. Story tricks are great, by the way. Dad's friend used to do a card trick with a story. They are fantastic. I love those things. But for Bill's daughter back in the day. I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have done the cut and restored rope, which I can do if you guys want to see it.
I love it. I love those ones.
I'd love that.
Two questions for you, Jim.
Yeah.
First, when you talk about learning magic or teaching magic, and you reveal some of the secrets to a trick, I mean, I'm under the impression magicians are like hardcore. You do not reveal the secret. It's like an unwritten rule in
Connor.
as magic is concerned. Is that really the case? Or because I heard rumors of people being threatened to be killed, some people, which is really odd. But when you reveal a trick or...
Well, it's never happened to me before, but yeah, you hear stories like that, and I can't understand why someone would want to do that. I mean, it's a magic trick, people. Well, let's take ourselves a little less seriously. All right.
Well, I guess if it's your livelihood and people aren't going to be, and I don't want to use the term fool. They would probably use the term entertained because they know how it's done. I guess that would interfere with someone's livelihood, but it's not like national secrets. It's a card trick,
Yeah. And it doesn't really interfere with anybody's livelihood either. I don't know how to put it. I mentioned Richard Goff a while back. Oh, was 1998. Oh, it was in 98. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Bill's post right here. 98. Wow, that was a long time ago. That was the same year I think I did the suspended straitjacket for the first time. Hanging upside down, doing the straitjacket. I'm going to get back to what we were talking about lives being threatened. My life could have come very close to the first time I did the straitjacket upside down. It was my mistake, my fault. Bob Brown, I mentioned him from Chicago, been gone a long time. He told me years ago, Jim, you've got the voice, you've got the presence, you've got the personality. Go do readings, do mentalism, do the readings with the cards, the tarot stuff, the whatever. If I'd have listened to him almost 30 years ago, things would be completely different. Right now, they're not, so I didn't. But he also told me how to lace myself up for the straitjacket routine. And I don't mean in the jacket, because I was already doing it standing upright for people. He taught me how to do this by having my ankles tied and then hoisted up. I was about 5 stories up downtown DeKalb, Illinois during a festival. Was listening to Steppenwolf playing in the beer garden just about a block or 2 away, wishing that I was in the beer garden at that time instead of hanging 5 stories upside down in a straitjacket. All of a sudden, when they say something about how the sun shines on you, well, it did, and it went from about 70 to 90 degrees in just a couple of minutes. I was sweating through the straitjacket, gentlemen. I'm telling you. Kelly was there, the one who is on here now. She and a couple of other people were there watching me. One lady said she was going to show up in a T-shirt that said, "Yay, Splat Man."
That was good encouragement.
Yes, these are my friends, folks. Is it any wonder why I am the way I am today? So I'm hanging upside down. Steph remembers it too. Oh, cool. I'm glad. Good. I didn't know she was very young in 1998. So I'm hanging upside down. I get out of the straitjacket, struggling, straining. It takes me like 2-3 minutes, something like that. I made a mistake of relaxing and felt one of my feet slip.
Oh,
yeah. So all I can do is kind of stage whisper to the people on the ground, "You got to get me down. You got to get me down now before I come down quicker than I want to." Like I said, I'm 5 stories up. This is going to hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
You would have got the yay, Splat Man.
That's it. It's exactly what it was.
I swear, as God is my witness, I thought Jim could fly.
Yeah, that's it.
I believe
Thank you, Arthur Carlson. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I get some of the yeah. But so yeah, it was my bad. I had got the guys to tie my ankles incorrectly, good enough to hold, but it wasn't as steady as it should have been. I made it. I've had people, really, did you get down? No, I'm still there. I'm saying, I've said that. I said it to everybody with a straight face.
I love
did
those.
You get out of that? No.
I'm still there.
Go ahead. I'm still over there.
You're not even talking to me right now.
Exactly. This is 28 years later. I'm still up there.
I'm still there.
That kind of sarcastic humor is the part that just loves it. I just start dying.
Yeah, on the right spot for that kind of humor. Quick question on the intuitive type of readings and stuff. Do you actually have insight abilities and third eye that you go in that route as well, or is it was just you've learned the cards enough and how to read people?
I think, I believe, I don't think there's a big, huge difference in those things, to be perfectly honest.
There are people that are gifted, very, very gifted. I challenge people all the time. Mm-hmm. So I know people that they say are psychics, and they're about as much a psychic as Stevie Wonder as a NASCAR driver.
Right,
okay?
Right.
But there are people that are very intuitive, and they just know the cards well enough. And it's not actually necessarily reading the cards; it's the feelings they get from the cards. I actually have intuitiveness myself. I don't do cards. Right. I have a friend that is a card reader, which is a deck of cards.
Yeah.
When you, depending on how they come out, she'll read all these cards, and she's really, really good, better than most tarot readers. So I was wondering if you do like natural readings, you get the images, in your mind's eye, or the voices, or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, it's to me, it's not so much anybody can go out and learn the cards. Anybody can learn to read the cards. I mean, they're pretty straightforward. They even come with instructions in the deck of cards on how to do a reading. And people do and have and still do make a fair living just reading cards because they can be so accurate. Right? But when you're taking the cards and on top of it, the feelings that you get from the person and combine those things together, you're going to be pretty much more accurate than what you are if you're just doing one or the other.
Yeah, because the reason why I was asking is there is an intuitiveness where you kind of pick up on people. Like I do that all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's actually a constant battle where I don't pry into other people's lives, but when people start discussing things, I see it. I know exactly what's going on. So if you said, "Oh, it's out Saturday night at X, Y," I'm with you on Saturday night.
Sure,
I have the ability to do that. Mm-hmm. And what I do is I don't use it for that. I use it for a BS meter. People are lying to you, and what happens when they lie to you is you don't get I'll just say the television or the video play in your head, and you're like, and they're full of it. Then again, when you meet people too, there's an energy. You're like you said, it's coming off you that you're sensing. A lot of people don't do that, but when you're a con person or someone who's a criminal, and I'm not saying every criminal or con person, you just know how to read body language.
Sure.
And social experiment. So that's one of the differences. But that's what I'm glad that you actually have that ability. I mean, it kind of works with magic to begin with.
Oh yeah, it does. Having the presence of mind to know this person is not going to be helpful coming up on stage. This is going to be the perfect audience member to bring up to me. Things like that. Like it's a combination of all of these things as far as I'm concerned.
And sidetrack you.
Was it? No, that's okay. Because we were talking about, and this could probably go along with that, people being threatened with death for revealing magic secrets. See, I have, like I said, I've never had that happen to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because they don't think I'd be worth their time or effort. I mean, look at me. I am an old man. Who cares, right? I'm not even doing stuff anymore. But it's like I say, you guys can tell probably from the way we're talking. I mean, there are things in life that I take seriously. There truly are. But this magic thing, revealing the secret, I can only go so far. If you're doing it like quote unquote the masked magician, okay, that dude did it for a payday.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. He worked with Fox Television for a payday because he wasn't getting shows. Now, this is the story that has went around for years, ever since this guy was out there doing this stuff. And if he's watching, please talk to me and tell me different, brother. Just let me know that I'm wrong. All right? I mean, I don't think so. But the thing about it is, and I can tell you this without a question, much of what he revealed on TV was kind of already known. Some of those secrets were like a century old. People were doing things newer ways, different ways, better ways at that point in time. He didn't give away as much as he pretended to give away.
Yeah.
But what we keep talking about is even if you watch YouTube or you get it, you don't have as much practice, so I don't think you'll ever be as seamless at it. I mean, even if I see you break it down from point A to point B, I'm still not going to be able to go in front of an audience and be like,
Not that day. No. But yeah, look, let me put it this way. We also have what we call no-brainer stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna say this stuff. Anybody, hey, I live in Prescott, Arizona, guys, come get me. We got what we call no-brainers. These are things that you can go into a magic store. Okay, magic shops are out there; they're everywhere, or you can do it online too. A lot of the whole what they call brick and mortar shop, they are closing down and people are selling online. But you see, that's the thing with the internet. Anybody can go on there. You can find a trick. Let's say you saw somebody do something on Fool Us, for instance. That guy put a dollar bill and a pen together and the pen went through the dollar bill, blah, 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 blah. You can look that up online. You can find out how to do it, where you can buy it, probably $25-$30. You can go out there, you can do that. It doesn't take a whole lot of skill. I can turn you into he's talking about the amazing Kreskin.
Yep.
Or Joanne Stewart. Remember the amazing Kreskin? Of course I remember the amazing Kreskin. Are you kidding me? I've done some of his routines before. But he didn't know I was doing his routines. Well,
that's what I love about magic is someone that's that good can take someone else's routine and tweak it and make it a little bit, put their spin on it, and it's still, both of them are great. Yes. And both of them are equally like, it's similar to what so and so did. So I mean, it's almost like a flattery moment when I guess when you do that for a musician, like a magician, it's almost like an homage to them, whether they like it or not.
Right. And that's if for instance, everybody knows Houdini. In 3 years, it will be the 100th anniversary of the day Houdini died on Halloween. It'll be 2026, 100 years since Houdini died. I started my magic career at the age of 26. This is where you can get some number stuff going together, right? Every time somebody does make my Uber Eats driver arrive on time, I'm sorry, I do not have that skill. I do not. No,
but I can make that food disappear easily.
I can, and I have.
I think one of mine too, like for mentalist side, one of my first experiences that I can recall would be Johnny Carson's routine, the Great Karnak.
Oh,
So he'd always have, he'd hold the envelope up, he'd say something, and and also we got Ed Big Man. You're correct, sir.
Absolutely.
Just growing up, as a little guy, I remember because I'd sneak out, and be able to watch mom and dad watching Johnny Carson, and I'd always remember those ones because everybody would be tear laughing as he's sitting here doing, and rips open the envelope, and it's even watching the replays. They're funny. They are really funny. That's
sober for 4 years. Who is Whitney Houston?
Yeah.
In my case, it would be who is no one that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But talking about cards. First of all, answering the question, no. Right away, immediately, for me to teach somebody something and them to try to do it right, that would not be good. It takes practice, like everything else. Even what we call the no-brainer magic things that you can order online. You can go to the magic store if you have one and get them. You need to practice. Within a minimal amount of time, I could take any of the 5 of you or the 4 of you. I'm counting myself. But you see, I can't do it for myself. I'm not doing any shows right now. But I can get the 4 of you together and put together magic routines that you could probably make a little bit of cash off of yourself. And it wouldn't take me more than 30 days maximum if you had the time to invest.
For only $19.95 a week.
And see, that's where, like Bill talked about. That's where I would honestly recommend you do that. It's like go to TikTok, do something like that. It's real easy. Like it's going to be the same setup like you're doing right here. Then you could get people that would follow you. You could get subscribers. You could get people like Patreons, and they could actually pay for. They could pay just like for a class. I mean, you could just say, "I'm going to teach you how to do the rope trick," and you're going to have all these people that are going to send you donation. They're going to send you money and stuff through there to learn, and then you're basically doing that. You're actually teaching these like a master class on how to do these tricks
and the different levels of money. So if someone pays you $20 a month to be on your Patreon, they're entitled to one class A or class B trick. Someone pays you $50-$60 a month, then you get a class A trick. This is how you get out of the milk, underwater milk carton or whatever it is. But it's private. It's done privately. And that would be great. That would be fantastic for you.
Oh man, you just gave him an idea. That you should do that.
Yeah,
that is a good idea. Yes, I think keeping that up here. Because I've thought about it before. I've offered classes and things like that. I guess I would have to get on like the TikTok or the YouTubes or the whoever has them out there.
Because a simple side-by-side screen with a camera pointing down at the table, so they could see your hands on the table doing the stuff with the view like you have right now, and then you'd be simply describing. It's like, here's what you do. You take this, boom, step by step. This is how you do it. This is how you palm it. This is how you do these things, and voila.
There we go.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It is. I feel like I got off topic somewhere.
Oh, welcome to Three Beers Podcast. This is what we do.
It's what I do too, but I didn't want to embarrass anybody.
No. You see, you fit right in. You got the beard, and you've gone off topic, just like we do.
We're right on time.
I feel like Mark has something he wants to add.
I really like silent movies, and you can find some of Houdini's. Like these short clips of him, jumping off a bridge while handcuffed, and he's only underwater for a couple seconds, and he comes back up, and the handcuffs are off.
Right.
And like 1910, the whole town turns up along the riverbank to see. Like a minute-long performance. But in his, you can also find some of his silent movies on, the internet as well. And there's one where it starts off where he's frozen in ice, and you get David Blaine doing that TV special a few years ago where he's doing kind of like doing the same thing, but he has like what Brian was talking about, was putting his own signature twist on that trick. What are some of these legacies that people Houdini's legacies that people like David Blaine or Doug Henning, did during their careers that can be traced back to Houdini or some of the early magicians.
You're wondering what like he would have done that other people
Oh,
have
and
done?
like what are some of what were some of the things Houdini did that inspired
Modern trick.
magicians like 80, 90 years later?
Oh, well, just the fact that he did these things. No matter what anybody says, Houdini had a few things going for him. One is he's the actually guy who made escape magic famous. Okay, there were guys doing things before he did, and at the same time he did. Some people have even been thought of as better at it, but nobody was better at getting the publicity than Harry was. Nobody. He was like the first superstar out there for this. Houdini, I can almost guarantee you're never going to see certain things that are that Houdini would have done because they're just not appropriate today. I'll give you for instance, some of the stories are Houdini had himself sewn into the carcass of a whale. It's one of the stories, and escaped from it. He was a publicity hound. He had an ego that was the size of, well, let's say Texas. I don't know. His ego was huge. Most of us do have. And I include me in that process, and my wife's probably sitting back in the other room laughing right now because she knows this. She should have said it first. She should.
Yeah, it seems like a highly specific gig, like a trick. You got to wait for a whale to die and wash up on shore before you can do the sew myself up into the whale act. I mean, it seems like a once in a lifetime trick you can pull off. It's like over in Washington, a whale plus. All right, pack the bags. Why? We got to go do my trick right now.
Pretty much.
They beached themselves. Let's go, people.
Yeah.
You only had the one. You only had the one time to get it right in sawing Steph in half.
That's true. She was a teenager and a very willing participant because she liked to be in front of the audience herself. I could have used an assistant like Steph throughout my life. She would have been great on stage, really. Here's another one for Houdini. Everybody does a couple of things that Harry did. The straitjacket, of course. Right? But when you see a guy not just doing the straitjacket, not just doing the suspended straitjacket, but doing a suspended straitjacket while the rope is on fire. Now, Harry never did that. So everybody wanted to go one better than Houdini did. A lot of the guys are trying to do a one-upsmanship thing. That's cool if that's what they want to do. I don't see it as a necessity. Yes, Copperfield had a lot of specials. He had David was locked in a building that they were going to implode, and he escaped from that before everything went.
Yeah, I remember that one. I also remember the one. That's where I learned that the TV camera trick that you can't just because it happened when he made the Statue of Liberty disappear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because when you take the view and then all of a sudden the whole audience shifts, and so he basically have rotated, and so now the Statue of Liberty's gone, and everybody's like, oh, it was just, yeah, right. It was, right. It's one of those he didn't actually make the, it just so, but as a kid you're like, oh my God, the Statue of Liberty, it's gone, bring it back, it just, yeah.
Absolutely. The one where he made the train car disappear. Every year something different was disappearing. Yep. 1 year, I think he made a Learjet disappear. Then it was the Statue of Liberty. Then it was a train car.
Elephants, things like that.
Houdini did that. So that may be the idea where Dave got that idea. Houdini did that on stage as well. He took an elephant, walked it into a cage or something like a wooden type enclosure. lights on, off, things like that. Boom, the elephants vanished.
Are there any of the older magicians, including Harry Houdini, the greats, is there still tricks that no one's been able to figure out? Like they've been working at it, and the only person to be able to get it done was like Houdini, or even modern people. Is there a trick that someone's doing, and all you guys are like, I don't know how the hell he's doing that one?
I can't say for sure.
I guess you can't.
It's a very good question, because for every time, if you can't figure something out, believe me, somebody's going to get a different way of doing it.
Right. Penn and Teller's famous for doing like, oh, I would have done it this way.
They create their own things. They do. And they got in so much trouble at one point in time. They did a show where they supposedly were exposing magic all over the place, right? The thing is they created everything they did on there based on other magic effects. Now, they didn't take a single thing and do an exposure of anything. They took this, once again, like I said, they twisted it a little bit, and then they exposed their own creation. And yet people were calling them, hey, how can you do that? They got kicked out of magic clubs that they never belonged to.
Yeah, that's the ultimate insult. You were banned from my establishment. I've never even been there. Yeah, right. You're banned.
Never heard of Magic Association of Clowns Magic.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that was kind of the follow-up, just a little bit to what Brian was saying there too. Now, it's one of the ones I'd written down for you is, what was the hardest trick that for you to master that you got to?
That one's a joke grenade, guys. It'll give a minute. Escaping poverty.
Escaping poverty.
Oh, I got that.
Would you cut out a little bit there? I was like, escaping poverty. That's awesome.
Yes. The hardest magic trick. What would be the hardest one that I ever learned to do?
Besides marriage, which is the hardest magic trick?
A successful marriage. Yes, this is my second one.
I'm gonna make myself disappear tonight, honey.
That's it. But that's okay, because I'm still one behind her. I'm her third husband. So, the second one,
guys got really sawed in half.
Well, something happened to the second guy. I don't know what it was. They said it was natural causes, but
there's my rim shot.
I'm sure she's listening back here right now, going, "Oh God, why is he saying these things?"
I lost another one.
That's it.
This is what we do, ladies, when you're married.
That's right. This is what happens. It's their mistake for allowing 5 different guys to get online at the same time and talk. That's what happens. That's
we may need
hardest thing to the hardest things for me to still learn is what like I mentioned my friend Earl Nelson before, are the coin effects. Coins are very difficult to manipulate correctly.
Is it the movement of the hands? I mean, I know my friend he's fairly good. We used to go to Tannen Magic all the time. Come on, let's go to Tannen's. We go. It's great magic store. It's in Manhattan. You go to Tannen Magics, and everybody's like, it's kind of like going to a guitar store looking for a guitar, and everybody works there as a guitar hero. Right. They're doing whatever. So these guys are making rabbits appear. They're making tubs. I mean, it's just the weirdest place. And then they'll try to sell you a trick.
Oh yeah.
They'll do the trick for you and say, "Do you want to buy the trick?" Right. You can buy like really cool tricks there.
Oh, absolutely. Tannen's is an old time shop. The one that I'm most familiar with, of course, is Magic Inc. in Chicago. It is one of the best known in the world still to this day. They downsized and moved their location after being in the same place for, let me see, the sign on the wall said Magic Inc. in business, or no, established before you were born. That's true. It had been Ireland Magic at one point in time, and then Jay Marshall married Frances Ireland, and they changed it to Magic Inc., blah, blah, blah. There was another 2 different marriages and things. And
my friend was going to the magic store in New York I fell in love with all the pyrotechniques. So I used to carry with me 24/7 flash paper.
Oh,
And
yes.
one time, this was great because these people were really pissing me off during this. It was a concert, and I'm not a marijuana prude, folks, but they were pissing me the hell off.
Now here, this one I was talking about here, so people could see. This is how.
That's cool.
That's so for the people that I say, it just in a matter of like 10 seconds, you go from 4 coins and and the hands are never like together. So it's not like he's scooping them up and it's so effortlessly, all of a sudden just boom, it's done. You're like, how the hell do you do that? I'm like, watch it over and over.
Cool. That is really good.
There's one of 2 or 3 different ways that he's doing it, and or a combination of those ways. Can I do it well? No, I cannot. But I know the ways that they are done.
He's also doing it on felt, which is really important because when the coins are hitting, you don't hear them.
Exactly,
Which
and
is
it makes them.
I was thinking about that when you said the mastering the sound.
Close-up mats. Yeah,
I was at a concert. These people were just constantly getting high. They're blowing in our faces. Not that I was a prude. I just didn't want it, at the time. And they asked if I had rolling papers. I said, "Oh yeah, I got some for you." And I gave them, flash paper. They rolled it up.
That's fantastic.
And then the guy lit it straight in his face. I'm like, "There you go, asshole."
Oh, there you are.
Sorry, Ron, for the cursing, but it was hysterical.
Oh, that's almost as bad as like the people that you get your buddy's cigarettes and you reverse pack them.
Either that or
you go the other way. You knock them to where they're super loose, and then they go to light them, and they take a puff, and it's just like, just go on.
No, they used to have bang things that
cigarette loads. Cigarette loads are great.
Yeah, it comes in a magic kit. And
yeah, I did that to my dad's cigar. He was not happy.
I did that to my dad's last cigarette.
That would be the last cigarette. That would be from yeah.
Sorry, I wouldn't mean to interrupt you again, Jim. I apologize.
No. I always the interaction like this, and I noticed Kelly's message. What's your favorite magic trick? Is she asking me or you guys? I have no clue.
You.
With me, my favorite magic trick. What is my favorite magic? Lord, I have no clue. I can tell you what my least favorite magic effects are. Least favorite is the large stage illusions.
Really?
You and it's not because I cannot do them. I can do them. They cost a ton of money. They do. Even some of the smallest of your stage illusions. We were talking about like vanishing or appearing doves. The cages with the that can be the low range on those things can run $2,000. No,
birds disappear.
Yeah. Now imagine that. Now you have probably 3 to 5 doves. All of those doves have to eat as well. So when you're doing animal acts, you're not just you have to feed these things, keep them alive. Then you have to replace them. You have to clean up after them. Now we're talking about more expense, more time, blah, blah, blah. We've got the trick alone costs about $2,000, $2,500, right? They can cost more money. So now imagine this. For approximately, and I'm given some time here, 5 minutes worth of magic, you are spending in time, in effort, in actual finances, more than you're going to make off of that trick.
Yeah.
You got to do it at the county fair, so that way little Bobby can't find his rabbit. It's because you grabbed it out of the cage.
There is one thing, though, that reminds me of an old joke. There is one thing about working with livestock. When the shows are limited, you at least have dinner.
Yes. That's right. If you make Bobby's rabbit disappear and you just give him here's the keychain, honey. You're like, oh my God, that's his foot.
That's right. That's right. I've always wondered about the lucky rabbit's foot because that rabbit was not very lucky.
The rabbit sure didn't find that foot lucky.
He was upset. Yes.
I had those.
No, but as we're running out of time, like I said, if we'd promised everybody possibly like that rope trick.
Yeah.
Oh, the rope trick. Yeah.
Because I looked up the time. It's already I hour and 10 minutes. I'm like, if we keep stalling on this, what I said, we're going to run out of time.
Yeah, but to answer Kelly's question, this is one of my favorites. I love this thing. I've been doing it for years, so let's hope I can do it properly. I have here a ratty old piece of rope. Okay, and this is exactly how I demonstrate a ratty old piece of rope. No, that's not how I do it in the show. That's not how it is. I'm sorry, my hands will be appearing and disappearing from time to time. It doesn't mean that anything's happening. It just means that my camera is not as I'm not getting as wide a. Let's see if I can get this back just a little further. Okay.
We'll vouch for him. He's not tricking you people.
No, not at all. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to take this rope. Notice I folded it in two, and we need to cut it in the middle.
Yep.
It's very important to do that. Cutting into the middle is one of the few ways that actually helps make this thing work properly. Off by a little bit, and this could go seriously wrong. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we take the rope. Center, boom. Finding the center of the rope, by the way, is pretty easy. It's between the two ends. Ha, ha, ha. Thank you.
Hey, I was actually laughing at the joke. That was not pity laughing.
I appreciate that. Now, with these dull scissors that I have here, you'd think that I would have been better prepared for this, wouldn't you? But you would be wrong. And here we go. We have even at the top, okay? Like I said, they need to be even at the top and at the bottom. That's not quite right, is it? That is not quite. That is off a little bit. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think I can work this out. Okay. Now, even at the top and the bottom, this is not going anywhere well. They're not exactly even. Are they? No, they are not. Let's see what we can do to even out this rope. Does that look better, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's an applause cue right there too, because of what I did. When I have to explain, thank you very much. I love the soundtrack, by the way. That's great.
That's actually really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to go into this, and the only way I can think of to get these pieces of this is what the magicians don't show you. They're over here doing this behind their back and whatnot, things like that. I'm going to show you out in the open. The only way I can think of to restore a rope is a rope into one, and that is by doing that. Thank you.
That was the try.
Let everybody try the veal.
But you see, they're not exactly even. Okay, I see. Okay. This is going to be difficult to see without me doing this. In order to make these ropes a little more even, I have to move that knot. Something similar to that should make them a little more even. Wait, I think that made that a little too far. No? How about this? No, it's way short on this end. Hold on a second. There. Well, we can just get rid of the knot and we can start all over with the piece of rope again if you want to do that.
That's awesome.
Very,
very good. Very good.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed that. I like it. That is one of my favorites, I guess.
Those are always great when you do a trick where it looks like you're cutting, like you said, Penn and Teller with a snake or whatever, and it's like, oh my God, how did he do that? Because they see you cutting something.
Yes,
and it's the same object, but it's that's fantastic.
Well, absolutely. And the thing about this is this is what we were talking about earlier too. There are multiple ways to do this cut and restored rope, and thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. She's posting down there, and Kelly did too. When I do these things, I use. There's a version of the cut and restored rope where people actually use a second piece of rope.
Right.
And I'm just going on the assumption that may be part of what you might have been getting at a certain period, that there could have been And maybe you weren't, but that's okay. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. Some people use there's a part where you use a second piece of rope, a smaller piece of rope, so you're not actually cutting that one, right?
Mhm.
Everything I do in front of people like I'm doing with you guys, because I want them to know that's not how I do it. I'm not tricking them out or anything. That's a single piece of rope. When they're up there, they're pulling on the rope. They can do a tug of war with it until the cows come home or whatever you want to say, right?
Yeah.
That's a single piece of rope. I'm cutting it in two. It goes back together. It's real magic. But
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But that's the way I like to work with
No,
people.
that's great, because I know you're talking about the other piece of rope, you do a smaller piece, and that's what they're cutting. And I had my buddy that used to do magic. I haven't talked to him in forever. One of my buddies, we went to Highlight, and he brought a rabbit with him because he bought a rabbit on a day off once. Like, what do you do with the rabbit? He goes, well, I do magic. I need the rabbit for the magic trick. I'm like, I'm just shaking my head. And you want to know why you don't have a girlfriend? Okay, here it is, right here. But he showed me. He actually, and I don't remember. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I was at that age where, like, oh, women. I don't want to learn about magic tricks at this point. But he did it with one single piece of rope, and it was just it was really, really cool. But it wasn't my, I was not going into Magic University or anything like that.
Oh, no. Well, I can, and I know you guys said we're running out of time.
Oh, no. I was just looking at the clock. I'm like, if we waited much longer, we would run out of time. But no, yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. You mentioned something about doing something else with a piece of rope, and here we go. It's one of the things that I would probably teach online, unless anybody wants to learn it right now, and I can show you exactly how it's done. It's a matter of just tying a real quick bow, and that's how you do it. 1, 2, 3. The reason that it doesn't always work out like that is sometimes when I did my Wild West shows, I asked people about wearing shoes with laces, and I told them that's why cowboys don't, because they always get knotted up. You can't take the time to take those knots out. I mean, you have to figure out a quick and easy way to do something like removing a knot from a rope if you're going to wear things like that.
That's really good.
That was awesome. That was cool. That was cool. That was once again just
more applause.
Thank you.
Yes,
much appreciated.
And then, like I said, we don't want to remiss and address Steve's thing there. Have you ever encountered anything that you would say is legitimately like the rumored cursed trick or the prop that people just say don't use it?
We were talking about Houdini earlier, and the bullet catch was supposedly a cursed thing. There's a book that was written about how many who died, 12 who died or something like that. I can't remember the exact number. A ton of people have died. Well, not a ton of people, but at least a dozen or more. Injured, dead from doing the bullet catch, which you would have also seen Penn and Teller do.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one where they catch it in the teeth?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ideally. There's a story.
Sometimes on the back of the head, but most of the time they try with the teeth.
Yeah. Sometimes through the teeth, out the back of the head. There was one, a guy, there's a story about one during the, maybe the Western vaudeville type days, stood up and said something about catching a bullet. The magician was going to do a bullet catch. A guy in the audience supposedly stood up and said, "Catch this," drew his gun, fired point blank at him, and killed him.
Wow. That's insane.
And out here in Arizona, that's a possibility too.
Yeah. Almost moved to Arizona. It is the Wild West.
It's more Wild West now than it was even back in the Wild West. These people are going nuts with the whole we want to carry guns everywhere. I mean, I don't need that to go to Denny's.
No. They have it down in FLA right now. Well, July 1st, I think they're switching to that where you don't even need a carry permit. Come on, kids, grab your 9mm. Let's go. We're going to the store.
I was brought up with, and we won't get political with this or anything else.
No,
I was brought up around guns. I had my first rifle when I was 9 years old. Okay, I went into the service, so I made marksman there. Blah blah
cool.
blah, etc. etc. Yeah, and not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just saying, I see somebody walk into a pharmacy with a sidearm. I'm nervous. I don't know what this guy knows and what he doesn't know.
I know, I hear you on that, but in states where it was you have to get it concealed and you have to go through the hoops, a lot of them are versed on you know, I see this with people driving down in Florida. That's insane. But you know, it's, we have to have faith in something. I mean,
sure. Well, I was a driver for 25 years as well, so I also get a little nervous of people who are easy to get driver's license too. I think
There's
firearms.
a few down here in Florida that shouldn't have that license.
Yeah, they're out here too. Automobiles and firearms are definitely something that a psychiatric evaluation should be thought
it's
about. You know,
crazy down here.
Our sponsor asked the question before we get too far off topic. What about the knife throwing?
Oh, the knife throwing. I have in the past, when again, this is during the Wild West entertaining that I was doing. I actually got paid to play cowboy. That was cool. I thought that was great. This face was always the face of the bad guy, so this face also did a lot of falling off of roofs and whatnot too. So, hence the back surgery 20 years ago. But yeah, but I got better after that. I mean, I had walked bowed over, but after the surgery, I straightened up. The pain was gone, and as a bonus, I quit smoking.
That's good.
So, I don't know what happened, but a couple of things. The knife throwing. We used to do that at the Wild West towns. I would work, not so much knives. We did do knives, but we also had a hatchet throwing area. And it wasn't for the magic stuff, but we would take a hatchet, and we would teach this to the people who wanted to come and learn it as one of the things to do. Take a hatchet, come back, and put it in a post about maybe 15, 20 feet away. And teach them how to do that. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what the question is about the knife. If I've ever done those things, then yes. I come from a small Midwestern town. We didn't have much to do. So, yeah, we practiced throwing knives, things like that. So,
I think a lot of people picture the beautiful assistant strapped to the wheel, give it a spin, and the guy's over there with the knives.
Blindfolded.
Yeah.
It was demonstrated in the jerk that even
great.
the beautiful assistant can participate.
Oh, absolutely.
Throwing.
And she managed to catch Steve Martin's fly in just the right place.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's a scene I'm referencing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Steve Martin, of course, a magician himself.
Here's a little trivia for people. I think Jim probably knows. A few guys might know. Where did he learn magic? Does anybody know this?
Got me on that one.
Disneyland.
Really?
Disneyland. Oh, okay.
He worked in Disneyland in the magic shop.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of.
I was going. Yeah. I wasn't sure
Disney-
where it would have been.
The Disney fanatic would know that one all day. He got all of us stumped. Like, wait a minute, where did he learn?
There's a
magic?
little trivia for everybody. Yeah, he worked the magic shop on Main Street.
Worked the magic shop. That's cool. Johnny Carson, also a magician. That's why he would have so many of them on TV on his show. Some of them I knew, most of them I didn't. But Kreskin was always the guy who was on there. The mind reading stuff is fantastic. It's
oh yeah, he's put on the hat, get out the envelopes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But actually, like having Kreskin on there doing something like, let's see if I can do this. If I can do this properly. I want you to think about this. I want you to think. I'm going to take 4 cards. We got 4 imaginary cards here. Oh yes, and he is a great banjo player too, Steve Martin.
Sir.
I love a banjo player. He really is. I've got 4 cards here in my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hard to see, I know. Can anybody see them at all?
No.
No. Good. I was worried that somebody was going to be able to see those. We're going to call them the four queens. Okay, we're going to work with the four queens of the day. Anybody call out? Okay, when you've got the four queens, you've got the two black and the two red. Okay, red or black?
Black.
Red.
Black.
Oh, we'll go with black.
Okay, we'll go with black. We'll go with black. Okay, fine. Now we have in the black queens, we have the clubs and we have the spades. Anybody who wants to just call out either the clubs or the spades.
Spades.
Spades. Cool. That's great. Okay. Yeah, this is going to work easier if I just take the four queens that I have in my pocket here. Okay. Right here. Four queens. See? Nothing else in the envelope. Okay. Well, we got the four queens right here. Let me make sure I got all four queens. Yep. Okay, there they are. All four. Actually, let's see, listen. I knew it was going to be the Queen of Spades.
That's cool.
That's cool. Let's see what you think about this. I was so sure it was going to be the Queen of Spades. So absolutely positive that it was going to be the Queen of Spades that I made it the only one with a blue back.
That's cool. Yeah,
you want to see something a little bit different that's really going to mess up your mind a little bit?
They're all going to go one color and eventually.
I didn't even
They're all
have
blank.
the three in there.
You just had the Queen of Spades.
Just the Queen of Spades in there. That's all there was. So that's one of my card tricks.
See, that's awesome.
Hold on.
Thank you very much.
Get the applause going again. There's
right.
one. I used to live in New York, and I would go to school up in Westchester, and I had a lull between classes. So there was a movie theater there, Hawthorne Movie Theater, and they usually had like a 1:00 movie, and you get it for like $3. So I actually go to this movie, and we're sitting there. It's good. I forgot what movie it was, but it was pretty good. And at the end, you leave and you go in the restroom, and I noticed that Teller is there.
Oh.
So Teller's there, and we go in. We're in the restroom. And I go into the far end of the line of urinals. He's in the other end. He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. And I come back out, go past him, and I wash my hands, and I open the door. He's coming out, and he goes, "Thank you." And I said, "I knew you could speak." And he's laughing at me. I was just joking around with him, but it's very weird when you meet some of these guys that you kind of enjoyed and respect many ways what they do. They make you feel good. That's what I love about magicians. They make you feel good. You know?
Yes. We do have the other side of that coin too, as well. And I'm the guy who will talk about these things, and maybe this is why people don't like me. Oh, well. But these things happen. There are
coming out soon.
Yeah. There are guys out there who, and I was just talking about this the other day with someone. Someone I met the other day knows one of the more famous magicians in LA. I'm not going to bring up his name. It's not worthwhile. A decent guy for the most part, but this one thing, he tends to refuse from time to time anyway, to do magic for people simply because, well, you know what? I'm a professional. I'm not going to sit here and do this. My hands are insured, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
one
of them.
The guys that are a little, too much like, so I can't do that. I mean, you ask me to do magic. You say, hey, do the rope trick. What did I do? I did 2 other ones on top of it, right? 3, if you count the knot and the rope thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no, appreciate you doing that too. That was awesome.
I'm glad you guys really wanted me to, because I tell you the truth, I just this would be my addiction, if you will, performing. Like Houdini. At one point in time, this guy tried to sell everything that he owned because he was doing nothing. He wasn't getting anywhere with anything. He tried to sell it all. He couldn't get people to take the magic off his hands.
Well, if you think about, just what you were saying, it made me think. Imagine if the classic magicians, Houdini's, these ones, imagine if they were nowadays with the technology to where they could be like this on StreamYard, like in everybody's living room. Imagine what they would be able to pull off. I mean, we've got David Blaine, we got these people. Just imagine Harry Houdini going around on YouTube, TikTok.
Oh, Harry would be
doing
like I
stuff
said,
now.
with the ego. Yeah, he would be nonsense. He would. You probably couldn't get him to stop. He'd be 24 hours a day. You know, this is me. This is Houdini. I'm doing this. That. Oddly enough, at the same point in time, Harry Blackstone Sr. They would compete. They would have what they called paper wars, which would be the last guy who put up a poster over top of the other guys would be the guy who would get the business for his show. You know, competing theaters, so he'd get the biggest crowd. Harry Blackstone Sr. was famous one time. This is the story that went around for saying that Harry Houdini couldn't stick his hands in Central Park without rustling the leaves.
That's interesting.
In other words, he wasn't any good. You know,
Yeah, that's an interesting. That's always like one of those backhanded compliments. I love those things.
Oh yeah, he was Harry. He was the best at the escape artist stuff, I guess. I don't know. There were, like I say, there were some who were out there that was supposedly better, and but I don't know. I wasn't there. A guy that I used to talk to online just before the corona hit, he died. He was 89 years old. He was the first person to ever do the Houdini seance at the Magic Castle. His father was a tool and die guy for Harry Houdini.
Oh,
he helped
Wow.
make. He was the last one that worked for Harry before he died, making his props.
That's a big business right there, and very secretive.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of the modern guys. It's Chris something, and I remember he had a show, Mind Freak.
You're talking about Angel?
Chris Angel.
Chris Angel. Yep.
I mean, I think there was a special or something where they went into the behind the scenes of him making of a show or something like that, and you saw all these prop guys come in and they're trying to ask him all these questions. He's like, I'm not talking, because they know exactly this is their bread and butter. So if you reveal something, I mean, remember those kids that need braces? You're not gonna be able to pay them.
That's right.
Well, there's stories that go around about Chris too. Anybody hear him, I'm more than happy to tell them, but they're not actually the best stories in the world.
He's very nose in the air.
Sold his soul to the devil for his abilities. That's usually what it is.
From what I understand, and I don't know these guys very well, but I know people in business and in the entertainment industry, and a lot of performers that they get the notoriety. They do have their egos kind of inflamed a bit, but Blaine's supposed to be pretty decent for who he is. A little bit more laid back, and he's almost very laid back for the most part. But there's some people you can tell that they're the ones that are going to curse you out if they don't get the first spot or.
Oh, I know some of those guys, and I was actually on Facebook. One of them called me a thief for stealing his.
And there it is.
His little logo thing, and he was a very famous. Into mentalism and things like this, but only in the business. Everybody else wouldn't know this guy's name. Just those of us in the business, right?
Legend in his own mind type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Legend in his own mind. I no longer have anything to do with the guy. I had a few of his things. They went straight in the trash when he did that. I am not. I don't need the tension, the headaches from things like that.
We get that way with podcasting these days now too. Someone gets really popular and then they start believing their own hype, and then you watch all the nastiness come out.
Oh yeah. I think that's what happened to Chris. David actually created something that no one had really ever done, and he made a name for himself doing it, and that was going in to the poorer sections of a town somewhere, right? And just doing the magic straight up right in front of their faces, up close in person, like we've been talking about. And that's kind of how David made his career, by doing something that no one else had really done before.
Well, yeah, it was nothing. It was awesome. Like, you go down the inner city, and all of a sudden he does a trick, and you got the guys like, oh snaps, and they're all running around. They just take off running. Like, oh, they're
Right.
just like running around, and that's what added to it. It's like he went there because he knew these are going to be the ones that are going to be most receptive. You go down
Oh,
to the
yeah.
wine bar, people are going to be like, what's this grungy looking guy doing in here? It's like everybody
Right.
else is just like welcomed him in. It's like,
I think he was one of the first guys also to, if I'm correct, that I recall, to levitate.
Oh, to do the
to do that trick.
The
Yep.
levitation trick where you're like, oh my God, this guy's flying,
Yeah.
which is that's a great trick.
Mhm.
I think he was one of the first, and he used to do that down in the city. Like, he'd go like, real bad neighborhood and just do it. And people like, yo, he's possessed, like they're running around. It's just like, it's a great, or he goes to basketball, he's going back, into the locker room and doing stuff. He did it with everybody, which is what's great about, that's why I think Blaine was like, he made himself very accessible to the public.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're not careful when you do that, you can wind up like Chris Angel. You can wind up going a little too far. Like you said, believing in your own hype. Stories have went around about Chris taking ideas that weren't his, and doing the. I mean, there was a story about a guy in Las Vegas who went right up to him in the middle of what he was doing and said, "That's my effect, and it is, and you stole it from me."
I've seen these magicians. Even I guess my friends, they're amateur magicians. They're really good at what they do. And there was a bunch of people hanging out, and they go, "Don't you ever do that again? That's my," they will go right at you. They're not afraid. It's like kind of like if you piss some kid, one of your friends' moms off, they'll come up and smack you. In my day, like, oh yeah, come up, ow. Yeah,
Well,
they don't play games.
Well, like I said before, I've never had that happen to me. And to be honest with you, the guys who are saying that's my effect, half of them at least got their effect from somebody else's effect. Yep. So they're taking themselves too seriously. And what I'm going to tell them right now is stop. That's it.
Yeah. I think everybody could just keep going back. It's like, if you really want to claim it, it's like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing new under the sun. There's somebody that's done a card trick before that you're claiming is your card trick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's little twists, there's little tweaks, right. There's yeah.
Ancient Egypt was filled with those magicians.
Oh, geez. But some of the oldest things like the cups and balls, the cut and restored rope, the Chinese linking rings, these things go back thousands of years.
Yep.
There's murals on walls that have these things painted on them that are older than time,
Here's the difference, though, between those older effects when they did it in person. They probably like, stab him, he's possessed.
Yeah,
exactly. The last time they did the trick.
I know, just because you threw on your sequin quote and you have them all, you bedazzled the rings, doesn't suddenly make you the originator of this trick.
Valis impaled me.
Exactly. That's it. Probably half of the witch burnings were because somebody asked them to pick a card. Something
exactly.
Like that.
Is this your card?
How unfortunate was that? Draw a card. It's the ace. Witch.
Yeah.
Just 1 in 52 shot, and you just doomed yourself to the burning.
That's it.
All right. So everybody needs to go to Jim Saylor on Facebook and follow him. Bill, Jackie, it's Stephanie and Kelly all have to really push him to get on YouTube and TikTok or something like that and start
private,
doing
based off
doing these two tutorials.
And I want to say to them all that I'm grateful. If it hadn't been for Bill, we wouldn't be doing this right now. I mean, I hadn't seen Bill in probably since I did his daughter's birthday party in 1998.
Wow.
I think you did, Bill and Jack. Yep.
Yeah, and we started talking about the magic stuff, how I had done the birthday party, the couple of books that I wrote on doing the readings and whatnot. And then Mark, of course, Bill introduces me to Mark online, and Mark is the guy, of course, who comes to my rescue and gets you guys involved, the Three Beards. I think
secret agent booking man. That's what he is.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We'll go with the Four Beards this evening right here.
Can I make a suggestion, Craig?
What's that?
And Jim, I think we should do an episode where Jim comes back, and Jim, with the audience that we have, can you do a 3-card reading for people?
Absolutely.
Maybe he does readings. That would be a great show.
Yeah, we can see about doing that one.
Yeah. Now that there's an archive, that does help with getting your name out there to.
Oh, that's my book. Yes.
There you go.
That one actually, I'm the only one who's written on that.
Performing readings with chess pieces.
Yes, I mentioned Richard Webster in New Zealand.
Holy cow! That is awesome idea.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. He did a quick, brief reading for a friend's wife in New Zealand years and years ago, using all 12 of the major chess pieces. You know, the king all the way down to the pawn in both colors. And he gave her a reading like that. He wrote about it in one of his books. I read it. And I've been talking to Richard for a couple of years now online. And he said, Jim, since you know so much about it, I never had time to do it. Why don't you go ahead and write a book on it since you've been thinking this through? So with his encouragement, I did. It's about a 60-some-odd page book, 64 pages, something like that. It tells you how to do readings using all the chess pieces in correlation with things like the tarot, with auras, with numerology, etc., etc. There are actually the meanings of the chess pieces as well. I put that out. A couple of years back.
And it's buy it brand new right now, $7.84.
But if you want an autographed copy from Jim, just pay him $20 and he will send it to you, autographed and personalized.
That's it. Absolutely.
Do that, Jim.
That's right. Support the man.
All they got to do is they can send it. They can get hold of me through Facebook or through my email. If anybody wants the email, it's called justjim90@aol.com.
Awesome.
So Jim, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. That was a blast. And like I said, I'll reach out to you. We'll see about getting that. Probably somewhere June, July would be when we could probably get that on the books.
Sure.
Anytime you guys want to, please feel free. Contact me. I love doing this stuff. As you could tell, there is no ego here, no ham. It's just
that's right. No, it was fun.
This was just a lot of fun tonight.
Yes,
it was.
I told Bill, I said, keep your fingers crossed. I said, I don't know what kind of fool I'm going to make of myself. Now we know what kind.
Oh, no, you don't have to worry about making a fool of yourself. I got you covered.
We do that week in and week out.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing I enjoy doing, and I appreciate you guys having me do this. It really was great.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's some applause again.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody, Mark and everybody. Yes. And Craig.
Yeah. So it's like Mark, things like in Nightlight, go out over there and listen to Barbara, keeping him in line. Yeah. It's like, they do. It's the same thing. They really touch on, especially on their program, they really get a lot more in depth for us. I mean, we got a limited time here. They're 2.5 hour, on the stuff. So they're really able to deep dive, ours. There's a lot of comedy and stuff, mixed in with the things here. So we try to tackle them somewhat seriously, but yeah, if you want a more in depth, type that is like Nightlight will actually, they'll get a lot more in depth into some of the topics.
Oh, right. Well, Mark's already mentioned that before, but it might be a while before we can actually do anything because they're very busy right now.
We're gonna get to you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm patient. I have time.
They're very busy. Very busy.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Here's
the crickets.
The crickets. One last thing. This is the other one that I did.
Oh, you do use a
pendulum.
Pendulum.
Absolutely.
I actually just put mine away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, this has got a whole bunch of stuff about using the pendulum.
That's awesome.
And,
I didn't see if that
you
was
need
on.
to do. You need to get to conferences and paranormal-based conferences, that are around the country.
yes.
Because a lot of what you do would be in the paranormal end of it. Have a table there, put your books there, do some tricks for people, do a gallery reading, and some of them won't pay you initially, but you may make money back on if you get a
Selling
free
books.
room in the table, you sell
Yes.
a couple of books for $20 with an autograph. It's trust me, it's a great idea for you as well.
Oh,
you get to see the
absolutely.
country, which is good. It's kind of like the gym tour. You can just go around and see what's going on.
And this is unfortunately where I am right now is not the greatest place. There's the one place in Arizona who really does many things like this, which is Sedona. I'm only about 45 minutes away from Sedona, Arizona, which is where they have a lot of the
Texas,
the paranormal and everybody comes there to recharge in the at the Red Rocks and all of that sort of stuff. And
It's a perfect place for the pendulum, talk.
Not necessarily.
True.
Yeah, that'd be the one. It's just, yeah, dude. Everybody, ERT Radio, proud sponsor of this show. I said thank you to him. Go to Mixler.com, set up your account there, and you can listen to this, which we're rebroadcast on Wednesdays at 11 p.m. following Into the Outer Realms with Joey Medea. I moonlight occasionally on that show myself as well. But definitely, everybody follow him on Facebook. Go to Jim Sayer. Just go there. Just friend request, follow, and get some more information on him, like where he's going to be, and tell him that if you saw him on the show, like I said, and I highly encourage you to check out and do that stuff with like TikTok or YouTube, because I said, I don't see why you'd have any trouble getting followers, and just doing the little, because it doesn't even have to be half-hour ones. I mean, just like. You took like less than 5 minutes to do this whole thing. That's all you have to do. It's super easy, and it'd be so easy to edit this stuff down. So you'd really be able to do this. I said, sorry, I encourage you to do it.
I'm going to, and I'm going to give everybody credit for it. And Ronald, how do you pronounce his name?
Tolftar, I think is how you say it.
Tolftar uses a pendulum, dowsing rods as well. That's another subject we could get into. Again, you guys ought to talk. You want to talk to somebody? Richard Webster's the guy to talk to about all of this stuff too. Pendulums, dowsing rods. Man, this guy has a knowledge, 40, 50 years easily of knowledge. He's written hundreds of books on this stuff.
Like I always say, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like,
Richard, we're coming to you.
Yeah, it's one of those. But everybody, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Go to redbubble.com /Three Beards Podcast, or go to threebeardspodcast.com. Check out our merchandise.
We never talked about the new shirt.
Yeah, we haven't even talked. I don't know if you got the picture handy there or not.
I could probably bring the picture up to talk about the new shirt while you just
yeah, it's like you just check us out on social. Check us out all on social media there. Just want to thank everybody that supported us through buying merchandise. Everybody who's also got through subscribe, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. I hear.
Yeah, Craig. Can you make like a fourth face with stubble on it, like for mine? And but this is another example of why I'm always paired with with Jim having a beard too, so that's like 4 against 1, and so I'm always paired with people who have beards or the women.
Yeah, it's
like I'm testosterone challenged.
There's the limited edition Chris swag shirt, the bear hug.
Nice, very nice.
Nice. I haven't seen.
This is as seen on TV and YouTube. You shouldn't have told me the bear hug story, brother. So
he made that. I was trying to find the picture too that we have, because like he was talking, because I made another one of those edit ones. Oh yeah, here it is. We do have some pictures,
yes.
That have Mark in there. This is one of the ones that we.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and so we do have some
beard on Mark's face one time before I even came on here. I did the 4 squares and just put a beard on him.
With his face, he pulled out the Murdoch.
That is such a great. You own a jazz, Hannibal. This is great.
Yeah, so that was that was one of the ones we did. But yeah, just everybody, like I said, so everybody, thank you for watching. We got Max Hawthorne on, the Fireball author. We're gonna be talking Megalodon. And just is that small little tiny fish out there floating around still, or because they've there's a great white shark they found that had a gigantic bite taken out of it.
They actually just had a video of what they feel is a megalodon.
Yeah, that's one of the things like we're going to talk about. It's like
it was massive.
Yep, nice. And so I think, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, like he'll correct me, but I want to say it was somewhere on the order like 20 to 30 feet long. I mean, it's just huge fish, gigantic fish. And so that'll trip some people off that I just called a shark a fish. So that's what we want to do. Throw that grenade. Let the chat room go. So, but everybody, please go support Jim Saylor. Tell him thank you for coming on. Like I said, buy that book. Go to Amazon, purchase those. Like I saw what it said there. There were 7 left. So let's buy all those 7. Sweet. Let's get all those 7. Like I said, next time you see him, get him to autograph those for you. So. Absolutely, I have no problems with that. Pictures, autographs, I'm good for all of it. All right, Jim. Well, thank you, sir. Have a great night. We will see everybody next week. Good night. Thank you very much.